Has anything changed? We'll discuss that in a minute with the MP for Tottenham, David Lammy, who joins me now. Thank you for talking to me. First of all, what is your message to Tottenham tonight?
Well, most of my constituents will feel very much along the same lines as the family. Some dismay, sorrow, pain tonight as a result of this jury, but they also recognise that 10 Londoners have sat and have looked at all the evidence for 3 months. They've visited the scene and looked at what happened, and they've concluded that it was lawful. They have raised questions about the nature of the police investigations and the lead up to the events. And of course, they've concluded that Mark Duggan came out of a car without a gun in his hand. And that's why I think you saw the scenes that you saw at the Royal Courts of Justice. And tonight there will be tension in parts of the community that I represent.
OK, David Lammy. I'm also joined by the youth worker, Mick Lees. If we return to the issues in the film that we saw, the fractured community relations, you are a youth worker. You get the views of lots of different young people.
Indeed.
Has things changed? Have things changed in the 2.5 years since Mark Duggan's death and since those riots?
I think underlying differences are still there. There is definitely a mistrust between certain sections of the community and the police. In terms of speaking to the young people, I was in the school this morning, I wouldn't say this inquest verdict was top of their mind, but that the underlying issue of trust between the police and young people still exists. You
were a policeman, you worked for the Met for more than 20 years.
I did.
What do you think it's going to take for that trust to change, to be restored in the police?
It's very difficult. At the end of the day, the Duggan family today are naturally very upset about the verdict. It's very difficult to talk to them. In terms of talking to the community and how we deal with things, the charity I represent tends to deal with more preventative interventions, so mentoring, anger management, actually dealing with young people before they start to get so disenfranchised that they want to do the things that unfortunately happened in 2011.
David Lammy, what do you think it's going to take from the police, from the wider, from the government, from the communities to try and get this relation back on track between certain sections of the community and the police?
Well, the government did have a victims panel that toured the country and conducted an inquiry. They came up with, I think, over 63 recommendations. Very few of them have been implemented by the government. Unemployment in a lot of the areas that rioted has not fallen. In fact, in some areas it's risen, and benefits have been cut at the same time. So things are difficult, they are hard. Regeneration takes a lot of time, but this takes renewed, consistent commitment, not just by the Metropolitan Police, but by the government, by agencies engaged in these communities, of course, if we are to get to the kind of London that we want to see.
But specifically on this point about the relationship with police, we've had a statement from the Met. They say, we know the trust is not shared by everyone. We will continue to work with local leaders to strengthen relationships. We know it will take time. There is an awareness there that this isn't going to be a quick fix, that these problems with the issues over stop and search, they've been going on for not months, not 2.5 years, decades. What is it going to take to really improve things for the future and for future generations?
Stop and search, very important to step back from stopping ordinary young Londoners and alienating young people and from the police. I think that work has begun. The second thing is when something goes wrong, and it is a small minority of officers, let's be clear about this, the vast majority of officers are doing a great job, but when something goes wrong, it needs to be independently, properly investigated. There remain huge concerns about the Independent Police Complaints Commission, and whilst that remains, I'm afraid communities will not have confidence. And that's not just communities of colour. Andrew Mitchell, a senior Conservative cabinet minister, has raised questions about the IPCC and raised profound questions about the police and how they investigate themselves himself. So this is a broader set of issues that need to be properly addressed.
OK, David Lammy, thank you. Mick Lees, what do you think it's going to take?
I think it takes people to talk to each other and develop relationships, as I say.
We hear that all the time, though, doesn't it?
But sadly, that's what it's about. It's not about big political ideas. It's actually hard work on the ground, youth workers talking individually to young people to change people's minds and speak to them one person at a time. That doesn't make a great political persuasion, but it's actually what actually works is talking to young people in groups and individually to try and stop them before they actually get to really serious behaviour.
OK, Mick Lees and David Lammy, thank you very much for joining me both this evening. Thank you.